We're going to look at joined sentences. There are a couple things that go into making up a sentence in the English language. Sentences have to have an order to them. They have to convey meaning. The subject, which is the noun, is your naming word. It can be a person or a thing, and that person or thing does something in that sentence. And that thing that it does is a verb, an action word. Sometimes the subject does more than one thing in the sentence. We can make up separate sentences or join them together. So let's go over a couple of examples. There is a table. There is a chair. You can take out the second there is and add the word and. So it would read, there is a table and a chair. Also, how can you change the word there is and make it one word or one phrase? You could say theirs. So it's THERE''S. So there's a table and a chair. Chanel and her friend Josie are fans of One Direction. So this is a joined sentence. And how it might read when it's separated is Chanel is a fan of One Direction. Her friend Josie is a friend of One Direction. Denzel studies and lives on the university campus. So this is the joined sentence and joins them together. It could also read Denzel studies, period. Denzel lives on the university campus. Taylor writes songs and performs on stage all over the world. So as two sentences that might read, Taylor writes songs, period. Taylor performs on stage all over the world. So how would you combine these sentences as a single sentence using the word and? Darnell lines up his shot. He aims for the net. So how would we do that? We could say Darnell lines up his shot and aims for the net. Here's another one. My mom is a nurse. My dad is a mechanic. This could go a couple of ways. You could say my mom is a nurse and my dad is a mechanic. Or you could say my mom is a nurse and dad is a mechanic. The store sells lots of candy. It also has toothbrushes. You could say the store sells lots of candy and toothbrushes. Or the store sells lots of candy and has toothbrushes. Commas can be used instead of and. When you have more than two items in a sentence, that is when you would use a comma. Let's take a look at an example of that. The grocery store carries avocados, salami, and salsa. So you'll notice that there's a comma after each noun and then before the and. So when you have the comma before the and, what that is called the Oxford comma. And you would put it always before the and in the Oxford comma. And that also helps a sentence from being less confusing. I mean, it is possible, and we see a lot of people do it without the comma in front of the and. So you could get away with it. You could say avocado, salami, and salsa. But there are some situations where you need that comma so it isn't so confusing for the reader. So here's an example. Diane, Joan, and her husband went to the store. So by putting the comma before the and, it looks like her husband means it's Diane's husband. Diane, Joan, and her husband went to the store. If you don't put the comma in front of the and, it looks like it's Joan's husband. So it's a simple little fix just to add more meaning and make yourself more clear in what your intent is when you're writing. The word but can also be used to join a sentence. There is a hockey game. It isn't in town. So when you add but, there is a hockey game, but it isn't in town. So here's some but words as the conjunction, buts as conjunction to join these sentences. Let's take a look and match these. So there is a house, but what would go with that? There isn't a yard. He is from France, but he doesn't speak the language. I work today, but not tomorrow. This is my jacket, but it isn't my scarf.